All of them were talking in the month of May, fuel prices will never go down. And 130 is the sustainable price. What is this today? 82. And what about the countries which has companies placed with hedging, and they have already booked, and Lufthansa is having the best hedging practices. They have booked the fuel at 105. How they will be sustainable? Sir, being done my PhD in supply chain management, and I can say, whatever the accountant say, first I am an accountant, but I can tell you when William Setti was kidnapped or was just caught in jail in London, because he is the biggest robber of banks in UK, he was asked, why you used to rob the bank only? He says, bugger, where the money lies. So cost of goods sold is the only area where the money lies. This is an atom bomb. So today, global competition, globalization is squeezing margin. Uncertain foreign currencies, for instance, like nowadays, we have a race with India. India is number one or we are number one. In India, the typical Gujju, when he wake up, he never go for matha taking. He goes and see what is the price of the dollar and how much sustainable am I today. Sir, the concept of the score model, which define about the business model, says that the business model starts from the conceptual designing of a product, process, country states, and then passing through planning, sourcing, making, delivery, and return. And at each steps, you violate or you have a risk of violating environmental or social issues. Just see, what is this? You have a carbon emission, everything. Let me know when I'm working for a pharmaceutical company, and I'm proud to say that my company occupy 5th position in Sri Lanka, despite these Indian giants. What do you think achievable with that sustainable matrix available over there? I'm telling you that sustainability for other companies is a fashion to report 2 pages on the integrated reporting. For us, it's an integral part of the business model. If we do not attach with a registration dossier, with bioavailability testing, or testing of the environmental issue, product cannot be registered. So it's a mandatory on our part. These are the risk factors we carry. Dear friends, KPMG has come up with a beautiful report. I will not go with everything. This says that the temperature, if we are maintaining the same pace, is raising at 1%. If it will be slowed down, the world temperature will be raised to 5%. The rest is very well given, but the more scaring one is that in 2030, if the system will goes like this, 40% of the world population will not have the water available for drinking. Won't you think this is an alarming? What sustainability we are talking about? Dear friends, margins are getting thin. And in order to put 2 pages for integrated report on your annual accounts, and if you are a public limited company and your shares are widely spread, listen, these are the 3 conditions when sustainability can put a big impact on your company. What the company has to do. speak about sustainability. I'm sorry for the Europe. I have to criticize you, even though you are the biggest donor to us. Yes. Even Australia or anywhere, because if there is a white skin, we always come, is coming from UK. Because we have a narrow vision. We have a narrow vision. Correct. You come up with an ISO. We never said anything. You come up with the business process re-engineering. We never said anything. You come up with the compliances. We never said anything. You try to put every restrictions on our region, SAFA, that we should not grow beyond the sustainable factor. And now you are coming, I know with what do you mean by sustainability. Every company has to pursue a sustainability certification from European companies to qualify to cross the border of their own country and enter over there. And I'm telling you this is going to happen. Working with a pharmaceutical company, we have to attach with the registration dossier corporate sustainability matrix, where they speak about environment, they speak about our contribution, they speak about the curbing of a child labor force, and they are talking a lot of other things. Some things are very good, but you understand in an eroding cost factor, and when our currency is respectively on banana peel, how we can do all such type of things? Please have some good voice and softness for us to them as well. Correct? Sustainability matrix, how it can apply. I am a typical Guju, coming from Saurashtra and a place called Rajkot, and proudly say that India and Pakistan, financial sector is dominated by Gujus, because everybody from the world was rushing to come to this world. God has asked, there is a certain community who was refusing to come to this world. They says, just go and ask why they are not going. We told them, give us one more competitive age so we can surpass the world. He says, what? We says a complete software package by way of which we can do the best number crunching exercise. Now being a Guju, a typical mentality of our accountant, we all are accountant, I'm sorry, I'm also an accountant, changed my role after reading the book, wearing the 6 hats, and try to find out which hats gives me the better. So I switch over there. Being a typical Guju, there was one person dead in a family. He called Times of India. He says, we have to give an advertisement for an obituary because my brother has died. This says, but this will charge. You know, this is the Times of India. More than 1 billion people read it. So what do you want? He said, 250 rupees per word. He says, okay, I'm coming back. Then let's see the typical mentality of our accountant. He comes back. He says, right, 250 per word? He says, yes. Right, Anand dead, Suzuki for sale. Dear friends, this is an integrated model you need to adopt in order to make your performance management a better appear carrying the sustainability matrix. Now, what we accountant in the corporate finance do, we try, first of all, we do not understand business object. We do not understand Hyperion. We just know FICO, finance, and cost controlling activities. And cost controlling activities without going the DNA why the cost is increasing, they have to do just one report which will appear on the financial statement that how much electricity you have consumed, how much gas you have consumed, how much water you have wasted, how many consignment less than container loads you have moved, because any consignment move less than container load. This is the biggest threat for the environment in the world, because we are conserving the energy, and this is because of we all people, our internal processes are not excellent. Now, the recent research. A paper by a technical expert who wrote a beautiful paper that how corporate finance sustainability can be maintained in the world. They have reduced the definition of a sustainability matrix. They says that the sustainability can only move very nicely if your stakeholders are good and they are happy. If Mukesh Bhai and Anil Ambani are angry, what it has to do with the sustainability matrix? We all speak very high of lot of the companies, but I can say in SAFA countries, 80% of the employees who goes on leave, annual leave, when they come back, the biggest change they see in their sustainability matrix, their job is removed. They come up with this particular aspect of the sustainability, that how the sustainability matrix goes in the corporate world. If your stakeholder is happy, a stakeholder cannot be happy unless your customers are happy. Customers are not happy unless you are not securing their environmental issue. Can you just believe it, a country like Pakistan, having spent $35 billion in last 5 years in controlling the terrorism, but so many large borders, it's so difficult to see that how the things are unfold. Today, the biggest thing a person has to do when he reach at the office, he call his family, even though it is 3 kilometers away, that I have reached to the office. What you talk about that people who are fighting for the sustainability. You have to learn from our experience. Novo Nordisk awarded as the best sustainable company in the world last year. What sustainable matrix they adopt? Just see the 3 bottom line piece. Now this is Pfizer. Cash reserve of the Pfizer is larger than the cash reserve of United States of America. 13 beautiful qualified tableting products having sale not less than $15 billion. And the profitability and return on investment is 46%. What their corporate sustainability matrix says, customer, we care for customers, we care for patients. Now, can I ask you one thing here? You all people are talking about the environment. What about the health of the people? In 2030, only India and Pakistan will have 25 million people will be suffering from diabetes. And diabetes is an internal disease killing the people and even killing the eyesight of the people. What you people are talking, what sustainability you are talking. And if a person is on insulin, he required 550 rupees to have an injection available. And if he has a consumption of the unit, 60 units per day, how he can bear the cost of the 1.5 vial? Can anybody tells me? And then he has to pay to the paramedical staff 40 rupees per injection twice a day. What we are talking about sustainability. India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka are the worst effect of the hepatitis C. Dear friends, there are about 2.5 million people are suffering from hepatitis C. And hepatitis C kills your liver. And if you are not going to provide them a facility, it is going to spread like a geometrical progression. What we people are talking for green. Green will only be there when the people will be there. Where is that mentioned in any financial report? Who is doing that thing in the financial report? First we were on HIV. Now the biggest threatening effect of hepatitis C, unfortunately Europe never speak because they have never having any malaria or any hepatitis C. So this is for us. So no research is there. Dear, these are the pillars for CFO to design the value growth model. But our accountant, who are very good at Excel, Excel is just like a mirror. A 70 years person will look like a 25 years person. If you have any bad thing, you just clean the mirror, but the dirtiness in you, these things we are doing. And business model, growth model, cash flow model, this model, Excel is designing a business and sustainability matrix for us. So we should salute Excel and give them the Nobel Prize for that. Enterprise value, I have told you, is strategy and vision. Let me tell you, my house is 13 kilometers from my factory. While I was going up, elderly man was standing with his son. He stopped my car. I told him, why? He says, no, no, this is wrong car. I told him, no, no, I will drop your father. Tell me where he want to go. He says he's working for refinery. Then he sit with me, only 5 minutes. People, are you getting bored? No. So he's a good Jew. So he sat with me. He was completely blind. He says, is it a VTI? I told him, please let me know, are you really playing a blind cricket in Pakistan team? Because we the world champion. And I understand the blind are looking more better than any normal vision people. He says, no, 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 don't joke with me. I'm MS from US. But Mr. Hanif, I would like to say one thing. Losing of an eyesight is not a problem. One should not lose a vision. What a great thing a person has said. But we accountants have lost the vision. I challenge you. How many people are sitting over there? More than 100. Who can give me word by word the corporate mission statement of their respective company? Just tell me. They will go back, see the beautiful operator, because behind her, there will be an obituary statement of the corporate mission statement. And we are talking about visibility. This is the status of the accountant carried out by Deloitte, saying how much interest they take in the corporate sustainability. I will not go. These are the 8 core areas. This is the typical business object model. How many of you have worked on SAP? How many of you have worked on Oracle Financial? And how many of you have worked on JD Edwards? Let me tell you one thing. If you are telling trial balance, if you are doing journal entries, forget about it after a professional qualification, because that job is taken over by them, which is CFR 21, Chapter 11, Part 7 compliance. So just see the electricity consumption and a smiley on his face. Dear friends, time is too short. I'm showing you a beautiful capturing of Novo Nordisk. What does it mean when they follow the corporate sustainability model? Voice? Only 2 minutes.
I have a hectic life. I'm a single parent of 3 boys. They're teenagers, so keeps me pretty busy between that and work. With Take Action, basically it's a bunch of employees that are here at Novo Nordisk, and what we do is we volunteer our time for this particular type of event. This isn't an event where it's something that has to do with any of our job descriptions. We all have to really just make that decision individually. We plan things today to get people dancing, to get people moving, just to spark them to do more than just walking. I think it just shows when you have over 600 people come out to support a cause. To me, that's worth everything. That's worth every single second of my time. A day like this really gives me the advantage of understanding the individual stories. I gain a lot of insight into what the everyday life is like for a patient. This is a Sunday, so people had to give up their personal time to be here. So a lot of employees really respect that because they know how profound it is for Novo Nordisk to really have that impact on the community. Personally, I would really like to take away from this that I did something that made a difference in the day.
Når jeg ikke arbejder, så spenderer jeg rigtig meget tid sammen med mine venner og familie på både at være aktiv og dyrke forskellige former for sport, og så er jeg i gang med at sætte hus i stand sammen med min kæreste. Kids Volley-eventet går ud på, at der kommer børn fra 2. til 4. klasse fra 4 forskellige skoler, og kommer her for at kæmpe lidt mod hinanden i Kids Volley og få en dejlig formiddag ud af det. På selve eventet, der møder man jo kollegaer fra hele Novo Nordisk og fra helt andre steder, end hvor jeg normalt befinder mig. Så lige pludselig så har man også netværket internt i Novo Nordisk. Jeg involverer mig i det her, fordi jeg synes, det er en god mulighed for at lære børn om gode, sunde vaner. Og lære dem om, at jamen, det er vigtigt, at du får noget godt at spise. Det er vigtigt, at du dyrker noget motion. Og jo tidligere de lærer det, jo mere hænger det ved, når de bliver ældre.
I'm a single child. I stay at home with my mom right now. I love music. I play the guitar. I have a lot of friends, so I have a very busy social life too. This year we thought we'd do something different. We partnered with Times of India and we came up with a award on diabetes, which means a world activity record, wherein we attempted to break the Guinness Book of World Record on the maximum number of blood sugar levels that have been tested at a single place in 8 hours. We touch about 4,000 to 5,000 patients in a single big activity like this. It gives you a high at the end of the day to be able to pull this off. It also gives you a great feeling of teamwork when you actually see everybody from all departments at Novo Nordisk coming together. It means a lot to everybody. We say that we are committed to diabetes care, and that's a principle and a pillar of what our business stands on. And if you don't have events like these, then you can't claim that you're actually committed to bringing a change in a patient's life. Most of the time we look at our products, we're very product-centric, but there are times like these when you actually touch a patient's life.
Novo Nordisk taking action shows the community that we are more than just what we say. We walk the walk and talk the talk.
Det giver en mulighed for, at folk de ved, hvad det er, Novo Nordisk står for. Og vi ikke bare står for at lave nogle gode produkter, men vi står også for, at vi er den sociale ansvarlighed.
I don't think that there are many companies that can actually conceive and execute something like this. So it makes me proud and happy to be part of Novo Nordisk.
Only one thing, when I started with the change, remember, you cannot have a change without growth, and you cannot have a growth without change. The ideal thing is that you are growing with the growth of the company. Wall Street mentioned one beautiful story in 2009, quoting the example of Africa. This is in Africa, in the same jungle, lion lives, and in the same jungle, deer live. First sparkle of the sun when it strikes the jungle, the lion make a prayer to the God, God give me that much faster speed that I can outrun the deer and can have the decent food for my day to day. In the same jungle, deer make the prayer to the God, God give me that much empowerment that I can run that faster, that I can have a decent living of a day. So today we all have to decide whether we would like to live like a lion or we would like to live like a deer, where we have to pursue everyday sustainability. Thank you very much.
That was a wonderful presentation, Dr. Hanif. And I am sure that all of you would have enjoyed it. After a throbbing video presentation on the process excellence, I think he did something that made difference for us this day. And he walked the walk and talked the talk. Now over to the question answer session, where we have some questions for Ms. Rita.
Thank you. I believe this question has actually just been answered by the last session, the last speaker. It says, you explained very clearly how all regions in the world are affected by the economic downturn started in the developed world. In the world where the population is over 7 billion and growing, and with limited resources left to consume, and with the level of environmentally unsustainable growth we have, do you think whether we will ever hope to have sustainable growth in the future? Are we heading towards a worldwide depression, like in the early 1930s? Okay, so if we can move to the actions, sustainable development, there's a lot of discussion, and I know as accountants you are now required to look at this under the accounting standards, and to get your companies to focus more clearly and carefully on these issues, that whole cycle that is looked at. And then if you take that to your homes as well, we're finding sustainability. Education by the children is very interesting. A colleague was complaining her child was standing outside the bathroom when she was having a shower and came out and said, do you realize that by taking a 10-minute shower, you have used X litres of water, you have used Y units of power, you have used this. And here's this little child telling her mother that if you halved the time that you took a shower, you would save this house, $20 or something. Like, it was just, the children are getting to understand at all levels, as we need to, how do we move? And it's not simply a matter of at this high government level to be sustainable. We have to start at very much the grassroots and move towards that. That being said, we don't have another 2 days to discuss sustainability, albeit that you are exploring the issues here. But I would suggest, we have that last presentation certainly took us a long way down to the issues with sustainability. The second question that we've received is much more technical, and I'd like to read it. We don't have time to sort of answer it because we need another 2 days. But I'm going to read the question, because what's important is your thinking about this. And clearly, the presentations that we have made this morning is resonating with you, raising the questions in your mind as to how do we get there. So with your leave, Mr. Chairman, I'll just read the question without answering it, I'm afraid. But what advice could you give What advices you could give for the deteriorated economic downturn situations noted below? Number one, the continuous depreciation of the rupee against the US dollar. Interesting, we heard about how Germany is sustaining its growth because of its lower funding in the euro. US has been complaining, of course, very much against China, how China is artificially holding its RMB at a level to be more competitive. So there's a number of issues there. The depletion of foreign currency reserves. This is of great concern, and the IMF, of course, write and speak long and loudly about that. The high increase of local and foreign loans, and which account for a large part of the GDP, and it is significant. In Sri Lanka alone, for example, the foreign debt interest payment every year is $1 billion US. That's your interest payment, not even principal. The major investment by the state sector where it doesn't bring adequate returns. ADB does a lot of infrastructure in this country, as we do around the Asian region. The reason for that, as I said, is that without the infrastructure, you cannot get development happening. Unless we've got the roads, you can't bring the product to market. Unless you've got the port. Both these roads, the port, ADB is supporting, unless you have this infrastructure. So the government must, and hopefully bring in the private sector to support infrastructure development. Where it doesn't bring adequate returns is a hard one.